Okay, good morning everyone. My name is Makesi Peters, Guild President, BB Guild Students in the Augustine campus. For most of you all who don't know, I also sat on the government appointed task force committee for GATE. So, I had a bit of a dual role, and I had the opportunity to engage some students on campus, engage the socialist group on campus, to get some insight moving forward. So, very quickly, everyone we said what is GATE. Students can obtain financial assistance for tertiary level education through the government assistance program. It covers 100% tuition expenses. So these are things that we know. In terms of the purpose of GATE, GATE was designed to remove the barriers that prevented many citizens from accessing higher education. Viewed by many as a true gateway to human development, this project continues to benefit Trinidad and Tobago nationals tremendously. Some objectives will include support economic development and promote social equity, strengthen the quality of education to include public and private tertiary level institutions. Overall, the GATE plan remove inequalities, the inequalities that existed in the dollar for dollar program. And that is so true, because when the first presenter was given a bit of insight in terms of the income level, I could say for myself that had it not been for GATE, I may not have been in UA. I may not have been given the opportunity to go on to higher education, because the reality is the income level in my household and so many households for some students on our campus, just does not allow us to pursue, would not have allowed us to pursue higher education. Statistics obtained showed expenditure under the GATE program increased steadily from $102 million at the time of its inception in 2004-2005 fiscal year. This increased significantly to $624 million in the fiscal year 2010-2011. The highest amount was recorded in the fiscal year 2011-2012, when the government paid approximately $757 million to public and private institutions. However, these figures dropped in the following years as changes were made to the GATE program in terms of GPA requirements. And on the government appointed task force, this was very interesting, because when we were looking at statistics in terms of, when it was established back in 2004, 2005, up to present time, when we look at the amount of institutions that started accessing the majority of them that came on board afterwards was unaccredited private institutions. And those unaccredited private institutions accounted for a significant amount of government expenditure, and then the government opted to introduce tech-vocational as well. Statistical representation, so as you can see there, in 2005 we started off with 102. In 2012 here we peaked, and then it started declining because, of course, there were certain GPA requirements and security measures that were put in place. Right, so this is the grade point average in relation to UE. I believe Prof explained that well, where if your GPA fell below 2, GATE was no longer covering your expenses until you pay back. Now, how successful was the implementation of GATE? In 2004, tertiary participation rate stood at 15%. After the introduction of GATE, this number increased to 40% in 2008. Today, the tertiary participation rate stands well over 60%. Now, when we were having some dialogue with the Minister of Education and at the task force, and they were saying that when then Patrick Manning government introduced the GATE program, the idea was it was to fall in line with Vision 2020. That was a policy put forward by the party and by the government of the day. And the reality is, the minister indicated, we have more and achieved that tertiary participation rate, which was the vision or the objective of GATE. And that is what the minister put forward, and they utilized that as a rationale of actually putting stringent measures a more solid structuring of GATE. Now, in terms of the GATE Committee Task Force, we were guided by terms of reference, and these were the terms of reference, to recommend mechanisms for reducing overall cost of GATE funding to the government, such as cost sharing models and arrangements with the private sector, means testing, funding of programs to vary based on developmental needs / priority needs, to review and recommend other mechanisms to provide assistance with tertiary education to citizens. For example, an education saving and insurance plan, as well as expansion of the current higher education loan program. Now, this was presented to the students at the forum we had. Most students had a lot of concern as relates to means testing, because some people felt that it could become a bit political. If you look at the nature of Trinidad and Tobago, some believe in it to get anything. If you to get a house and you go through means testing, that in itself is political. So some students fear that level of victimization, of which we share and which I articulated at the task force. In terms of a course sharing model, some students think that yes, if the country is going through severe economic turmoil or more so a recession, therefore that idea should be, the government could look at it, but it requires further dialogue. It requires all stakeholders to be involved in the process, to make it fair and to make it transparent, rather than a body of people making those decisions on their own. Now, coming out of the task force, these are the recommended changes that we came up with, discussed at the task force, some of which I agreed with and some of which I did not agree with. One would have been discontinuation of funding of some postgraduate programs. Now, I remember the task force, there was a debate. There was a debate as to which postgrad programs should receive funding and which should not. Some of the task force members stated that funding should be removed for research, right? Because research is a bit more a personalized area for one's own holistic development. So, there was the idea that, we should remove that whole research aspect. And then there was some who felt that research should not be looked at, because the reality is, with research, we'll be able to be a bit more innovative and make changes and implement it accordingly, So there was a tug of war, and there still wasn't a solid decision as to which postgraduate degrees would be funded. In terms of the age limit access for funding, I could tell you all that it would have been even way more draconian, because some people said perhaps funding should just be for people between 18 to 25. 18 to 25 because they felt people who are beyond 25 years old, they're either working, they have income coming in, and perhaps it should just be for people who are just coming out of secondary school into the A-level system, out of A-level, and into the tertiary system, right? So that is what some people were looking at. But then others felt that, instead of putting that cap, let's put from 18 to 25, apply 100% funding. From 25 up until 35, up until 49 actually, they were thinking of apply the means testing there. And then after, beyond that, would cut off funding, because they felt, some members felt that people over 50 would not be able to contribute adequately to the holistic development of the economy, right? That was some of the views of some members. This was not a unified view. These are the views of some members. There was also the adoption of a course sharing for undergraduate programs, and that is where the household income aspect comes into play. And when we were looking at the quotas, I said to the chairman, Mr. Earl Sims, that if we are perceiving that, if we are saying that people who are getting an income above 10,000 should be willing to pay 25% towards their tuition, the reality is, let's say parents have about three children going to university, right? Or 2 children going to university. how would they be able to adequately fund these students on a salary or a monthly income of $10,000 or let's say $15,000? The reality is it just could not work. And therefore, that's where they opted to talk about the adjustment of the help loan in terms of moving it from $25,000 to $35,000. And they felt that that would be a guarantee. As it stands right now, that is, it was not a guarantee. It was based on a means testing, and it was based on the ministry's approval. But now with the restructuring, what they're saying is that it's going to be mandatory. So you will get it. It's guaranteed. You will get the help loan once these changes are implemented. But I still disagree because I believe that banner, if you need to look at means testing, it needs to be adjusted to really reflect the reality. I spoke about well, when we look at mean testing on the committee, we looked at models from all different regions. We even look at the UK, we look at what is happening in Germany as well. And I remember everyone was a bit confused as to how to actually apply it. One thing that was discussed with regards to means testing is that it should have an online system where students could go online and see if they would be qualified, for what percentage, they would be qualified for. That was something that was experimenting with. In addition to the means testing, they were looking at the private sector having a significant role as well. Perhaps the private sector adopting some students or giving funding towards particular programs, etc. Right, limiting funding to one undergraduate degree program only. This is something that I, in a sense, supported, in all honesty, because the reality is we have some people milking the system, coming in and doing 1, 2, 3 degrees, and I believe the other opportunities should be given to people who really require that funding. So I supported that. I spoke about the adjustment of the health loan program eligibility. One thing that was discussed as well, they felt that people in most universities, they drop their matriculation requirements. Yeah. So in the past, it would have been very difficult to get into a well-established university, let's say the UWI Pro. And in some instances, that matriculation level has dropped to allow more people to come in. And more so, it has become more of a business rather than an institution to foster holistic development and learning. So those program eligibility had to be looked at. And finally, there was a cap for tuition at regional universities. I mistake there, right? So you had the idea that, okay, if the medical program, let's say on the St. Augustine campus, is $100,000, just say, all right? Why go to St. George's University and pay $300,000 when the same thing is being offered here? Some students opt to leave and go to Mona to do probably, let's say, economics, right? But you have that here in Trinidad. And there's a cost difference in the Mona campus as opposed to the St. Augustine campus. So the government said that, the task force said, that they would only pay the equivalent of the degree here, and the students would have to pay the buffer or the difference if they go to another campus. Now, I sort of disagree with that because I felt that, as a student, you must get an experience to some extent, for the other campuses. Now, I support the UG approach because really and truly, what's that university? St. George's, right? I supported that because reality, it was expensive. But I think we are one unit, and I think as students we should be able to move from Mona to Caville, etc., to get a holistic experience. So we said that needed to be looked at, right? In closing, I would just say the task force ended up with a lot of people not fully agreeing on some of the terms and references, and also some of the recommendations. I can tell you for sure this was not the holistic view of all, but at the end of the day, the government wanted some recommendations, and that was the mandate of the task force to put forward recommendations to ensure solid change. But as I said to the Minister of Education very recently, that GATE is an investment. And the reality is we have to create a knowledge-based economy. And if we need to get a knowledge-based economy, it will require, various stakeholders coming on board to make the reality of a young boy or a young girl who cannot afford education possible. So yes, I agree with Prof as well that it is a public good. And matter of fact, I spoke with the Minister of Education in Jamaica 2 weeks ago during our university meetings. I said to him that in terms of means testing, I think that we're a bit dormant, we're a bit quiet on it. And we need to now bring back all the relevant stakeholders, not only the UWI, but bring people who can add actually substance to the discussion. I recommended individuals such as Amilka and people from other universities who could actually, come forward with strategic plans that would aid towards the development of the program. So that being said, you all feel free to ask me any questions and to the task force in the discussion. And I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks.